Akakamo, Namie, Koyoana, Afata Mosia, Ayoana, Akakamo, Namie, Koyoana, Afata Mosia, Ayoana, Akakamo, Namie, Koyoana, Afata Mosia. Ayoana, Abetamo, Lamie, Koyoana, Afata Mosia.
Right, hello, good evening, and welcome to another edition of Hitz Afrik Radio Newsfile UK. This evening, I know that there's a lot on our hearts to talk about, and then most of you have been waiting for this program for quite some time now. Thankfully, I've got Chairman Yosen, who is particularly very much concerned about Ghanaian events. Good evening, Chairman.
Good evening, Dr. Morton, and how are you?
I'm very well, sir. Thank you. Yourself?
I'm terribly good. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we have really missed you on this show.
And I've missed your show as well.
Yeah. Anyway, it's good to see you this evening. First of all, I'm sure you must have gone through the topics we sent last night. And I am very happy you're here this morning. I'm sure what tickles your fancy would be probably Mr. Amoabeng, who feels that the NDC would use money to rake the election 2024. What do you think would make him think like
that? In Ghana, every rumor is true. Anything can happen in Ghana, so I have no doubt at all. So many things happen in Ghana when we don't expect. So it's quite honestly, it's up to the person to prove the accusation or the rumors, and we would deal with it in society. Anything at all can happen in Ghana because we are totally disorganized as a group of people. Whether in parliament, the whole parliament, it's totally disorganized. So nothing surprises me or my party or the people of Ghana. Nothing surprises us at all. The only thing we want is good things to happen in Ghana. But it's taken a very long time for good things to happen in our dear motherland.
And there's a lot of tension, you know. There's yourself who thought, you know, this is how most of the civilian countries started off, very quiet, and then it just got out of hands. And so we finding it very difficult to understand that we not likely to experience any political political, you know, inconveniences, especially as we thriving towards the election year, and then our votings will be up for election.
Yeah, we want to be positive. My party, Progressive People's Party, we want to be positive. And I can tell you that, well, we would expect the new Patriotic Party to hang up their boots because they have tried and tried and tried. They have not succeeded. It is an open secret. They are struggling so much. So the next alternative is right in front of us, which is the NDC. They must also come for us to see what they've got for Ghanaians. And they've got the support, mind you, of other political parties. Some of us are prepared to go into alliance with them so that we would think, they would think together with us to make Ghana a better place. We've given NPP 8 years almost. They have done nothing serious. It's a total hopeless arrangement they have got, a hopeless organization they've got, a hopeless political party they've got. They cannot run Ghana. So they must descend for another political party to come in. The next alternative is NDC together with us. When I say us, I mean the other political parties. We are working seriously about that. Just like what is happening in South Africa today. The same thing is going to happen in Ghana now. The same thing is going to happen in Ghana. It's not just going to be NDC. It's going to be NDC together with other political parties in Ghana. We want to enter into parliament to make Ghana a better place than we have observed up to this point, Dr. Morton.
Right, Chairman. Because you are here, I would like to look at Papa Kwesi's, Dr. Indum's preparation towards, at least taking quite, not, I don't want to say adventurous dimension, but it looks as if you want to come back strong. Is that what that seems to be saying?
Of course, yes, we've got to come back strong. The treatment they have given to Dr. Papa Kwesi Ndom as a Ghanaian, and together every Ghanaian, right-thinking Ghanaian must appreciate that the New Patriotic Party has given Dr. Papa Kwesi Ndom a tough and difficult time, a hard time over the years. But it's a statesman. He's not rough. He's not a nasty person. He's a statesman who loves Ghana. Everybody, even his enemies, believe what I'm saying, that he's a statesman. He's got a good heart for Ghana. Otherwise, he wouldn't spend his about 8 billion or 10 billion Ghana cedis on affairs of Ghana. Ghana government owes him even more than 10 billion Ghana cedis right now. The question is, how many Ghanaians can even afford to give 1,000 cedis loan to Ghana government? Not even one, let alone billions and billions and billions of cedis and all that. It's happening. We are seeing. We are all quiet and watching Dr. Indom, but the time is now there. We've only got about 6 months to go. You see that the tide is going to change. And it's not just going to be NDC, it's going to be NDC in coalition with us. When I say us, my party and other political parties, Progressive People's Party, CPP, PPP, other political parties, we come together to support, to work with NDC for us to defeat this rotten administration and put in place a better management of Ghana. I'll give you one simple example. Recently, just about exactly 7 days ago, or just over a week ago, we watched flooding in Takoradi. My old backyard, Takoradi. Just one example. When it rains, there's flooding and there's chaos and death, loss of lives and all that. We know the answers, Dr. Morton. I believe you do in much the same ways as I do and any other serious Ghanaian does. The problem we have in Ghana is that we have not got the right administrators to run our country. That is why we are struggling with simple problems like flooding. What it is that our gutters are not cleaned. Our gutters are not clean. It's not your fault. It's not my fault. It's not the people of Ghana's fault. It's the Ghana government imposition's fault. We do not simply clean our gutters. We throw rubbish into the gutters. We have not even got a proper waste management system. Otherwise, we will carry our rubbish every day to a dumping site or a site where they will manage the waste. It doesn't. So all our waste is dumped in the gutters in Accra, in the Cape Coast, at Takoradi, in Kumasi, in Bogatanga, Boku, all of Kumasi, all over the place. So it chokes. I mean, it blocks the drainage system. And so when it rains heavily, the flooding results because they have blocked the drainage system which will normally go into rivers or the sea, if you like.
Sorry.
And this is happening. We haven't got a proper government. They talk big. Dr. Bawumiah is busy campaigning, thinking that he's going to win. He's a poor soul. He is a very poor soul of a man, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumiah. He's all over the place. Using Ghana's money to travel to go and meet the Pope everywhere. So he's everywhere. They are just using politics for the sake of it and using Ghana government money to travel around the world, bragging and boasting and showing off and all that. We don't understand it. Now we want sensible people to come into our parliament. That is why I believe that we other political parties must go into alliance with NDC to win power and manage Ghana properly. We want to be in parliament as well. Our representation will make a difference in Ghana.
Okay, thank you very much, Chairman. I've seen Joe. Good evening, Joe.
Yeah, good evening, Doc.
I'm really sorry for quite a late start, but what I do, at least we extend the time beyond 10 o'clock to 15 the few minutes, which is today Sunday, a bit of traffic and all that. Sorry, I know you've been here, you've gone through the topics, but what I want to start off with, as I asked Chairman, as the general feeling of hopelessness. Do you feel that as Ghanaian as well?
Well, thank you very much, and let me say a very good evening to Mr. Kitiosin. Yeah.
Oh, good evening, sir.
Yeah. And it's an honor being here. And I must confess, if there is any other day I can feel proud as a Ghanaian, probably it's tonight. The reason being that I think Mr. Kitiosin has just said what I have always kind of advocated for. Unfortunately, I have a little bit of disagreement with him, but it is in a good faith. The disagreement is even in a good faith. The disagreement is the fact that we do not even need an alliance to oust this government. The point is that the fight is between Ghanaians and the MPP. And so whether there is alliance or not, it is about Ghanaians against a certain group of, a family who are taking over the country. And so I am really happy Mr. Kitiosin has also acknowledged that fact, that if we don't come together as a people, there will be no nation for us. In fact, if we give an MPP, this Achim mafias and their poster boy the chance to govern, by 2025, probably there will be no Ghana, because we will enter into a second era of slave trade, where Ghana will be chased out. Ghana will be chased out from its own country because of debt, because of recklessness, because of mismanagement, because of lack of leadership. It is not that we even have leadership. There is no leadership in our country as we talk now. And so to your question of hopelessness, Doctor,
yes, sir.
It is so sad.
Yeah.
Doctor,
From the way you're
so
talking,
sad.
it breaks my heart.
Yeah, because you see, the level of hopelessness can only, you see, let us even assume that probably Mr. Kitiosin is a political activist. I am a political activist. And you yourself, probably you are the only mediator amongst us. So when we say it, probably we might be biased towards that kind of conversation. But take your cameras to the airport, Ghana's airport, and look at the desperation in the faces of Ghanaians, the desperation that Ghanaians wants to leave the country. A country that Kwame Nkrumah once proclaimed as the beacon of hope, that unless we link up, we, Ghana, has to link up with other people for their freedoms to be realized. Today, we as the people in that country, we do not even have that freedom. Today, there is no hope. If you don't have hope, how can you go and say you are helping someone to establish his or her levels of hopefulness? It is non-existent. So it is so sad. To be a Ghanaian now is so sad. I have always said, look, no matter what we do, Akufo-Addo is the president. He's been president for 2 terms. Yes, I respect that. But the problem is that I am going to find it very, very hard to tell my children that we once had a president called Akufo-Addo. Because there's nothing I can associate this president to in terms of development, in terms of proper leadership, except to talk about corruption, except to talk about wanting to loot everything in the state, except to talk about wanting to transfer ownership of the country to his family members. That is the only thing I can talk about. And so I am very proud, Mr. Kitiosen, the PPP, the CPP, and some other elements are beginning to realize that, look, the battle now is not about NDC and MPP. The battle now is about a certain group of people who want to capture the state and have it in their own way. And so, Doc,
Yeah.
the levels of hopelessness is prevalent, is very existent, is very, very ongoing in our country, and we must rise up against it.
Right. Chairman.
Yes, Dr. Morton, I'm here.
I think Joe has got the attention of the baby thing. Is that's why I had to come back to you, because he's not spoken quite lengthy. He seems to agree with you. I've got a comment that says that, Doc, thank you very much for bringing this program to Sunday evening where we don't get interrupted by work during the daytime. Right, we thought about it, but Chairman, in as much as other parties think that they had to take over through this government and then come in as the only option, I'm sure they're still finding their way still to remain in power. Now they can look, let's say Bawumiah is an obvious candidate for the 2024.
I feel very sad for Dr. Mahamudu Bawumiah. As a reasonable person, I would expect him to admit that he stands no chance at all, because MPP's track record, we've seen them for the first term and this current second term as well. They have not succeeded the way every reasonable Ghanaian person would expect. If I say this, we have so much to gain, so much to win, but we have lost almost everything. We are not talking about the beautiful mansions they are building in Accra, and especially mostly in Accra. We are not talking about misuse of Ghanaian funds and all that.
Okay.
Ghana government funds. We are talking about reasonable things that about serving the society. It is not happening. It is not happening even in Accra itself, which is overpopulated. And any reasonable government of Ghana must understand or take a cue from what I'm saying. Accra, Greater Accra itself is overpopulated. So a lot of failed results when a society is overpopulated. Waste management is totally useless. We know that. So they got to shift. And in fact, we got to shift even the capital outside Greater Accra into somewhere in between western and central region of Ghana. Or even if it's Chiman or anywhere. Put it somewhere outside for life to spring up in other areas where this new capital will have to go. For instance, Nigerians, they shifted from Lagos to their current capital, isn't it? Nigeria did that, and life is springing up in that area. But they are not seeing these things. All they are doing is promising and fighting for election campaigns and all that. They should put campaigning outside. Shouldn't copy Americans or the British people. We are far behind them, but we have to learn from what from their experiences to make our country a better and happier place. There's so many things that we need. Health, education itself, health, education. Look at the environment of Ghana itself.
Anyway,
our roads, that we need to make amends in all situations. Why would it happen, Dr. Morton? If you take Burkina Faso and I think Upper Volta, those landlocked West African countries, they use Ghanaian routes as an example. They ply their trucks, heavy trucks, on Ghanaian routes from Takoradi Port through to they drive throughout into Cape Coast, Takoradi, towards Kumasi, and go to upper west or upper east or northern region, and the goods will be shifted into, let's say, Burkina Faso, which is above Ghana.
Yeah,
they use our roads. How much do we even charge them? Because they haven't got seaside there, they haven't got ports there. Ghana, we do. Takoradi and Tama ports there. So when these African countries, they use our ports, how much do they pay us? I'm not sure. How much money do they give to us? And the heavy goods that they use, they transport into their countries, help to destroy Ghanaian roads. The roads themselves needs to be widened, but it doesn't happen. That's what creates a lot of accidents in the country. When I go to Ghana, I watch these things. Big trucks, overloaded trucks, ply on our roads. They cause damage to our roads. Not just Ghanaian goods, but goods that are going to Upper Volta, Burkina Faso, and the countries above Ghana. You know, that one example alone is good enough to explain why we've got bad roads which are creating accidents for us all the time. So one of our being in Ghana, we're driving and watching trucks coming in and out. You fear. You fear. The Ghana government must look at these areas and account to the people of Ghana. How much do these people pay when they have to move their goods from Takoradi Harbour or Tema Harbour up to the above West African states? How much do these things costing us? We don't think about it, and we don't have good management of our own roads. Galamsey is there. So many problems are there which are correctable. We can correct these. That's why I'm going for other political parties, whether let us go into alliance with NDC. When we go into alliance with NDC, we shall draw a pact for them to also have a copy of our manifestos, so that we make sure we draw a line and use it. Not just NDC manifesto. We have to collate all manifestos together, the parties to the pact or the alliance or coalition. Then we go ahead, make Ghana a better place. We still need our railway train system in the whole of Ghana, not just Takoradi or Tama to Accra.
Yeah.
It used to be there even when the Joe referred to Kamukruma. We used to have the triangle railway lines, which are no longer there. But we have to revive these things and extend the railway train services to Upper East, Upper West, Northern region, and Volta region, and Hafasni. All the borders of Ghana, we need these things there. Transportation. Okay. So many goods get rotten. Our farmers have their produce going to rot, especially in the rainy season, because no trucks will want to travel into remote areas of the farms. Whereas if we have railway train system, it would have helped us to ferry goods from left, right, and center throughout the whole Ghana. The opportunities are there, but the people to think are not there.
Yeah, hold on, Mr. Segabu. Chairman is on the floor, please.
You see, where people to think are not right. And I'm telling you, this is an open secret. We are all thinking about Ghana. prosperity of Republic of Ghana. We want, and I'm blowing out an article. It cannot be controversial. It be factual. We want sensible people to vote, to put themselves there to go to Ghana Parliament this December election. People,
Chairman is on the floor. Maybe you'd have to listen from your end.
yeah, that's right.
I'll put you on the speaker so that whatever you say, they can hear you, but you cannot hear them unless you're listening at the background, because we can see you eating. We can hear you eating some. You've got some dinner, I suppose. But I'll put you. Let me pause, Chairman, and then you come in so far. If you listen earlier, what Chairman and Joe started up with. Segabu, I'm talking generally about Africa. I mean, I've seen Duke Lakai who says Mahama John Dramani Mahama is the only option. Okay, that's fine. And then Mr. Dennis, as a contributor, as a listener who is also contributing. And then I've seen Mr. Dennis Tonto. He says, is keenly watching Ghanaians has to rise up. He is not Ghanaian, from Kenya and Uganda background. You say, I've seen Ghanaians has to rise up and elect a young, capable leader that recycling old pensioners to lead a vibrant nation like Ghana. The issue of bad governance is toxic in the whole of Africa, fortunately. Burkina Faso is setting a good example by which hopefully will encourage other African countries to follow. Thank you very much, Mr. Dennis. Right, so Gabu, you had Chairman. Well, you did it, but Chairman as much concern about the fact that Africa, unfortunately, unlike the Western world, we really, really need help, And then if you look at I questioned the fact that in Africa, for example, we still get people coming to power, and we don't seem to see the drastic change as to going for. It's always been just a little difference, almost the same extent in governance. What do you make of this? Good evening, Segabu.
Good evening, all listeners to this program.
Good evening.
We need vibrant people. That's good. Not merely young, but vibrant ideas. You're not talking about young, just age. We live in knowledge economy. If you're going to bring a young person who has experience, knowledge due to the Ghanaian economy. The person was, I don't know the person's background. I don't know how much he knows about Ghana, but I do not think former president option now, but rather be from politics now. We talking about, we know his track record. We gave it economy. The growth of the was on, so it was about 12%, just to give a summary. And before he brought the growth with 3.4%. And give it his all the opportunities they had in life in terms of politics. What we have expected to have done far better. But during this time, we have to do so. Unemployment, headwinds, and we saw so many problems in the country. Because of doing so, the sector, the small scale business, and everything went down. I mentioned the fact that he down the economic growth rate with the Ghanaian economy. And here comes who says when you turn Ghana's economy into a 24-hour economy. I don't know whether the person who's the only option, because you have the idea. I want to say that 24-hour economy is bogus. It is bogus. Economic growth, a 24-hour economy is an output. It cannot be a process. Our dear former, how grow the Ghanaian economy? A 24-hour economy product of the process is supposed to be the. So we don't know his input. You've been here in this country of industry economy. How could Ghana's $18 billion economy, a 24-hour economy overnight? This anybody who's person is just economic illiteracy. You know, our dear former president, they need to know that at least levels.
I don't know why sometimes the line breaks, but
Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you, but it looks as if it breaks a little while as you talk, but we'll manage it. Good evening, Raymond Bachman. He said, hello, doctor. The line is breaking up. As I said, hardly hear him. I don't know if you can position yourself well, or I don't know why it's breaking.
Okay, let me get it.
Okay, anyway. It's a my response to this, as our brother said about, it is, but it breaks as you talk.
Yeah, it breaks constantly. So I mean, I would love to hear what
we can hear you. We can hear you, but it breaks.
All them. We had.
Yeah, it keeps breaking.
Sunk about $35 million into one.
Maybe you had to call back, say Gabu.
Yes, please let him call back so that we can hear him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We can hear you all right, but the line breaks.
But
So
it keeps breaking constantly.
Can you hear me now?
No, it keeps breaking.
The former $35 million when the sugar factory.
Okay.
And then after factory for 1 year. Could not run community sugar factory for 1 year. And this can he promised a 24-hour economy. Highly increased. All this is literacy. The country he runs.
No.
And I want to pardon our dear former president.
Segabo, I would have to call you back, I'm afraid. I think we no what what I'm saying is, what I'm saying is we can hear you, but in as much as you're talking, the line breaks and then it holds on until you come back. This is what happens. This happened last week. I don't know why, whether you'd have to call me or I have to call you back.
No, me pick it up. So when you think it is intended to make, let me rather call you.
Okay.
Just tell me that. Call me, please. I'll call you.
Okay, all right. So if you wanna, so call me back. Let me get Chairman to conclude as he started off, because my.
Okay, I wish I could hear us, and I wish I could hear.
No, it's not from here. It's from. It's just we can hear you, but where you're calling from, just like last week, the line was breaking. It's no way from here. So, well, I'll let you to call us back, and then I've been joined by Mr. Adutwum, who just arrived. I give him about 5 minutes to rest. But anyway, gentlemen, I've seen Raymond on it. I've seen Duke Lakine, who is from Ghana, my colleague, and then I've seen Joe, who's taking a break to feed the child or attend to probably bedtime because it's coming up to or gone over 9 o'clock. But first of all, my concern is, Africa. As I started off, I was looking at politics in general. I find it very difficult to understand the chaos that we encounter during politics. Either we have some casualties over aggression. That last year, for example, Ghana lost about 6 or 9 people due to a bit of violence and aggression. Anyway, Chairman, you had wanted to say something as
yes please. What our nation Ghana has reached now.
You can't hear him from here because he's talking from the system, and you'd have to listen to him from the back if that is possible. Otherwise, you wouldn't hear what Chairman is saying.
Okay, I wish I could hear him from the background. Okay.
Yes.
I wish we.
Yeah, so you call back if you think you're ready, or maybe you listen to him.
Okay.
Anyway, Chairman. Yes, sir. Or maybe I'll call you direct line. That would be better instead of the WhatsApp. That would be all right. Thank you. Bye.
Okay.
All right, Chairman, go on, please.
Thank you very much, Dr. Morton. We have reached a stage where we have to be openly honest with ourselves if we love our nation, Ghana. God has given us so much in terms of natural and mineral resources. What we have succeeded in doing is to destroy them, even the rivers. We have destroyed them, because of Galamsey. The government, we need a government that can think right and repair Ghana. Ghana needs total overhaul of repairs. We got to repair Ghana from north to south to east to west, all over the place. Look at the people of northern Ghana, upper east, upper west. Right. They must come down south to be Kayeye. That thing must stop. That thing must stop. We must plan to develop Ghana from all angles. All angles. That's why I started by saying Accra is overpopulated. Everybody wants to build in Accra. People from Central Region, Ashanti Region, Upper West, Upper East, Northern Region, Volta Region. Why would everybody have to go and build their houses in Accra where there are so much spaces in the rest of Ghana? It doesn't make good sense. For the right-thinking Ghanaian, you don't come from Greater Accra, you build your house in Accra. And what will even Ghana people do? The Ghana people are frustrated. They have no space to build their own houses in their own natural heritage. You know what I mean? These are issues we have to think about. If we develop the nation, it doesn't matter which part you want to live. But all the development is in inverted commas are situated in Greater Accra. Even if you go to Ashanti region, it's a quiet area. Apart from the few people, businessmen and women inside central Kumasi, the whole place is useless. Just like Cape Coast. Cape Coast reduces to a student village. There's no life there. Central region totally useless and hopeless. No activity there. There are so many factories that needs to be put up in Cape Coast and in Ashanti region itself. Upper West, Upper Region, Northern Region, Western Region, and Volta Region, Brown Half Region. We know the truth. We're all facing it. So many people have now got to build their own houses in Accra. So they don't care about their villages. Go to Elmina, with Central Region, Mankasim, Elmina, and all that. There's nothing there. Even Cape Coast, there's nothing serious in Cape Coast. Apart from schools. Must this continue all the time? We must do something different from what the old man, I'm glad Joe mentioned Kwame Nkrumah, from what Kwame Nkrumah did. All I'm saying is that even though I'm an Nkrumahist, but that apart, we must continue what Kwame Nkrumah was able to establish in his time. Apart from that, apart from him, no other government has come that has mattered. That's why Idi Amin, when he came, he tried to put some changes inside Uganda. Certain things that are wrong clear them out and put the better things inside them. That's what Ghana must go.
Right,
We
Chairman,
must, yes.
let me hold on with what you have in store coming next. But what I want to know is this: with the the change of governments all the time.
Yeah.
In Africa, for example, right from Museveni, Yadima, and they're staying in power as long as 32, 30, 40, and all that. When are we going to have a government? We've only said about Paul Kagame. I've seen a few good comments about him, and a few. How often are we going to be able to say that, yes, I mean, we're proud of this man, than just a small scale as we used to see? When you're done, I come to Adutwum, look at the view of Africa, where we want to see a good change. You know what I'm saying? Where we very convinced that, okay, so this president needs an applause. And so if we had to vote for him again to stay, then we have every reason to do that.
Yes,
When
I
are
think
we going to see that? Yes.
we will see that when we all agree as Ghanaians to a national developmental program, agenda to develop the whole nation. And it's not it's not just about one political party doing that, because one political party, MPP or NDC, they come and make the same mistakes all over again. This time, we must be serious. That is why I said I'm bringing my article that is calling for wise and sensible men and women to go to Ghana Parliament.
Right.
If we got sensible men and women inside Parliament, they are going to make sensible decisions affecting our nation, and not, excuse me, I don't want to say stupid, but useless projects like National Cathedral. It's a totally hopeless, endeavor. It's wrong. We don't need cathedral, National Cathedral. There are so many churches in Ghana already. Let's get a wise people in Parliament to make wise decisions. Today, I'm happy for South Africa because ANC has not got absolute majority, because ANC has now got to get into alliance or coalition with other political parties to rule. And when that happens, everybody's ideas must be taken on board, not just not just NPP or just NDC. Other political parties, smaller political parties, they have also got brains.
I like the way you come in with the
Yeah, we're going to do that. Consensus.
With the church thing and the cathedral, and every street in Africa has a church.
We didn't need it. So much money is going in the cathedral.
Yeah, but
and why so many people?
That's more of a private entity when it comes to churches and all that. I mean, if they have their money to establish their own churches, that's fair enough. But you see, the problem is when the government assumes its coffers money into it. That is where the problem comes in. Anyway, Chairman, you have 2 minutes. If you land, I'll get.
Okay, thank you. Recently, I read an article. I mean, the report, Ghana, the benefits we have from South Africa. If you go to South Africa, Ghana today, and you want to watch proper football, that's English Premiership or European football, where do you source it from? South Africa. When Ghana was independent long ago, South Africa was on the apartheid system. They have finished the apartheid system. Mandela is coming. Now South Africa is supporting Africa. Go to Ghana, even ordinary Premiership match is sourced from South Africa. Can we not learn? South Africa is bringing banks, Stanbic banks and other things, businesses into Ghana. They are investing there for their business now. And Ghanaians we are exporting gold to South Africa. Ghanaians, we are just exporting God or Christianity or religion to South Africa. There are so many Ghanaian churches now in South Africa, I understand.
But then that must have been the reason why sometimes the government assumes that, well, it must well be better to tax the churches, and then it becomes like governments become some sort of the Lucifer itself.
Yeah, that's the level I want to go. These Ghanaian churches opened in South Africa Did they render their accounts to accountant general in Ghana? No. No, they becomes individual private entity. They say God, 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 God. They are killing us with God. I'm a Methodist. I'm a Christian.
How can they
Today,
kill you with God? God is supposed to help you.
you know what I mean? They are killing us with God, 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 God in
Oh
vain.
my God,
And
Chairman.
I am a Methodist. Today I've gone to my church already.
Yeah,
I'm
what
a
I'm saying is,
Methodist, a pious one.
how could they bring God to kill you? God, is it the overdoing of God churches?
Yes, they're overusing the name of God and all that. And then God is not even happy with us. That's why that's why I started by telling you the unfortunate flooding we have. It's just a drainage system. Go to Accra, Kwame Nkrumah Circle. I was there growing up. I saw that big gutter in Kwame Nkrumah Circle. And Nkrumah put that gutter there, a drainage system that would have taken the waters that stagnate in Accra and Nkrumah Circle into Gulf of Guinea, that is the true Osu, into the seas. But they didn't finish the program project before Nkrumah was overthrown. And nobody is interested. Nobody is interested.
Okay, Chairman, I think your line is okay.
You know,
Yes.
so please, we just want,
All
we
right.
are not doing politics here. Finally, we are not doing politics. We need sensible and wise people to go into Ghana's parliament, to use their sensible ideas to make Ghana a better place. And we must share everything equally.
Right.
Equally. In all regions, all the 16 regions must benefit equally. And remove the capital from Greater Accra, because that's drawing every Ghanaian there. And it's not right.
Okay.
It's not right at all. Ashanti region, we look down upon even Ashanti region. Apart from Kumasi market traders, there's nothing serious in Ashanti region anyway.
Okay.
As an example, next to Accra, what about Cape Coast and
Chairman,
They don't come in.
Let me get to Mr. Adutwum and then
Right, thank you. Thank you.
He collected from all the contributions we've had so far. Good evening, sir.
Good evening to you and good evening to our listeners.
Adutwum is my panel here. Solely is all I've got. And then he came in to assist me, break down some of the issues we've been looking at. This evening, I'm looking at when we want to see Africa change or have what we call drastic change, if you want, and then where we can applaud the African leaders and say that, well, I remember in 1997, we had a man called Samuel Nyamadonko. If you remember, I think it was under the flag bearership of the NDC. I was under and then I think Rollins talked very fondly about him. So any government comes in, we should have a government comes in, and then even the opposition says, well, though we oppose and then wish we could take the floor, I think we admit you doing very well. When are we going to have that, Mr. Adutwum? Good evening.
Yes, good evening once again to everybody. You see, I am glad the chairman has talked about Nkrumah. Joe has also talked about Nkrumah. And the point is, we've had leaders in Africa who have been good, but we don't learn from them. Yeah.
We had Mandela. Is that a very bold example in the history of the Ghanaian leadership, our African leadership?
Yes. Robert Mugabe.
Yes.
These are outstanding politicians that Africa has had, Magufuli and co. recently. But the biggest of them all is Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah.
Is that your view, or is that an assertion made generally?
It's not me talking.
I'm not sure if any of them listening would say, well, fair enough. But I know Kwame Nkrumah went far with leadership, and then Mandela, I know he was well.
The man lived ahead of his time, and he wrote so many books. these books could be read in schools. Yeah. And that will bring good leaders. And above all, as I always say, it has a blueprint that if we were using that blueprint, by this time we would have developed. But there's this stop go and stop gaps in between our politics, whereby you have the two parties dominating Ghana, and as if they have a pact between them.
Yeah.
That we come and we do what we want. You come and you do what you want. But at the same time, we share the booty. Yeah. So you're never going to go on, because whilst this one is digging, that one is pulling, to the other side. So we need to look at what others have termed as the alternative to the two political parties we have in Ghana. And this could be individuals who have ideas, because every development and every business starts with an ideas, And
anyway, thank you very much, Mr. Adutwum. I've got a message from Duke again. He said, "Why do we sideline Mahama all the time in our conversation? Mahama is the only leader who had the experience and a vision to govern. Experience is the key. Otherwise, inexperience would always come and make ends meet of themselves. We need an experienced leadership." I mean, that seems to be very obvious. There's somebody who have an idea, but Mahama, with where he's coming from, based on his CV being a minister and MP and all that, till now, I mean, is a typical example. But then, it doesn't really make any difference with if an experienced person, makes a difference in governing a nation.
I wouldn't put it the way the person is putting it, in the sense that the person could be experienced, but at the same time, the experience he's got is archaic. We live in a dynamic world. The world is changing all the time. So you cannot always stuck in one position. I mean, Mahama was a good man. He did his best as a president, but at the same time, it wasn't good enough. So he was voted out. Hence, we have Nanado's government, which repeatedly dwelling on the mistakes Mahama is said to have done, which, at the moment, it looks like Nanado and his government, and his NPP.
Are we coming through the normal?
No, this is a normal call. But Odipo on the floor. So when you finish, Mr. Opon, and then you can come in, because this one, it's clear. I don't think it's breaking. This is what I realized. Yeah.
Yes. As I was saying.
Okay.
I don't think the NPP and the Nanado's government is done very well, as they described the then President Mahama as incompetent. The other was incompetent and failure. It's worse than.
You don't see any difference within the margins or within the performances? You think, it's what are you trying to say?
It's not me talking, it's what people are saying.
Yeah, but you are a Ghanaian and I am a Ghanaian.
At the moment,
unless you want to keep your views. Otherwise,
at the moment, you can hear a lot of people crying out for a change. Okay. Because why? The city in their pockets. It's no money.
You don't think Bawumiah has done much about the economy as he promised?
He himself hasn't owned up
to it.
You see, so really, he knows that the economic management is a total failure.
Yeah, one thing about Bawumiah, he's always responded to the media calls and to break down things as to why they are, which people believe that some assume he's not being straightforward to people, or he's not, like you said, own up to his failures or not being able to fulfill the promises and all of that. But as I'm saying, the same NDC and NPP, even if there's a layman who out of Ghana who is not a Ghanaian or lives in Ghana, so you and I who are Ghanaians, though we live here back home, we can tell what is going on. Do you think the opposition always have reason to say that, okay, so this is why we want to come back, because you're not doing it? It's not about Akoko baby and but anyway, Segabu, thanks for coming back, and I'm happy at least we got the line clearly now on a normal call. We're talking about seeing a drastic change of governance, in every part of Africa. I mentioned Museveni, I mentioned Yadima, mentioned Mugabe, Adutwum mentioned Mugabe and all that. It's become very obvious and common that experience as it is does not really make any difference. Do you share the same sentiments?
No, experience is making a difference.
It makes a difference.
It makes, wherever you go, in any workplace, in any human endeavor, experience always make a difference. In fact, experience is the best teacher. Experience is the best teacher. But you see, there's one colorful language that states that if you know your history, you can define the future. I repeat, if you know your history, you can define your future. What is the history about the NDC government? That's somebody. The last speaker is called Adutwum. He just mentioned
Mr. Opon,
just saying that the government is a failure. No, it is not. It is not. He's saying that because he's just refusing to put his analysis in the context of the global economic crisis. He's refusing that. He lives in this country. I'm not sure whether he's been from Ghana. But
Mr. Opon is here.
It's a failure. Yeah. If you know a history, you can define the future. We can define the future that President Mahama cannot lead Ghana to any place because of what you know about his track record. Moving the Ghana economy from 12% handing over from Atabas, his own former president. He was a vice. At that time, the economic growth was just around 14% there. And then he ran it down to 3.4% when he was leaving office by 2016. You know the history of him. So we can define that he cannot take Ghana to anywhere. We experienced do so. All informal sector collapsed. Even common chalk, we cannot even find chalks in schools. In the midst of all this, he even took allowances, teachers and necessary allowances from them. After taking all this from them, he couldn't see what he was doing with the economy. President Mahama cannot lead Ghana. President Mahama, then this is not the alternative, attractive party to lead Ghana, given the challenges we are facing. No, and this is not. Even their campaign promise, 24-hour economy tells them that they are not. They even stop talking about it. And all the leaders who goes to radio station talking about 24-hour economy, they are all floundering. I listen to Kujato, you don't know what he's talking about. I listened to this lady who was taking her husband, Nana, a year later. We didn't know what he was talking about. And one of the famous scientists, Albert Einstein, tells us that if somebody cannot explain anything he's talking about in simple terms, it means that person doesn't understand it enough. They don't even understand what they are talking about. They don't. A 24-hour economy should be a product. It should be an output. President Mahama never told Ghanaians how he's going to grow Ghana's economy for it to become a 24-hour economy. What kind of economy is this? And when I was speaking, you can hear me. I said that pardon President Mahama because of his level of knowledge by economists. It's not to the higher level. He told Ghanaians that up to A level. So maybe when he says this, people can pardon him. It is not possible for anybody, any Ghanaian, whether you're from NPP, from any other party, whether you're a professor from one of the top universities in America, whether from Yale University, whether you're from Stanford, whether you're from Dartmouth, whether from Harvard, or you're from the Russian group of universities here, whether you're from Oxford, you're from Cambridge, I do not think any economist, anybody, can look at Ghana's economy, an $80 billion economy, Ghana,
right,
with a heavy import-dependent economy, depending on other countries even to run our budget, to even go for election. You come and tell us that you can turn the economy within overnight in a 24-hour economy. This is bogus. I tell you the truth. When former President Obama, long before he became president of America in 2008, he wrote a book called Audacity of Hope. Someone who he wrote the book Audacity of Hope. I think in our dear President Mahama's second coming, it's unlikely second coming. You want to write a book to Ghanaians for Ghanaians, and that book is called Audacity of Deception. Audacity of Deception. What he's talking about? 24-hour economy. He's deceiving Ghanaians. He doesn't even understand what he's talking about. And none of his communicators has been able to explain what it means. A $10 billion economy, Ghana, turning Ghana into a 24-hour economy overnight within 4 years. This is a joke. From which economic textbook? From which economic textbook? The Scottish guy, the 14-year-old guy who wanted to invest in, and then became one of the top economists like Adam Smith. At the age of 14, he went to university. And while the seminar work he did, would have become much more influential globally. And that has been captured in the book Inquiries into the Wealth of Nations, which was published in 1778 thereabout. You know what? He is now considered as the father of economics, Adam Smith. Now, you know what he told the world? One of the leaders, he said that if you want to create wealth for any given country, it is not by the government. The government intervention to create wealth is not the way to go. And time again, everything has proved to that. He says it is the individual Dr. MORTON, the individual, maybe one of the Ghanaian, who's the guy? It's Madan, yes. Those Ghanaian entrepreneurs who have succeeded in the country. You see, it is an individual who sits in the office, who sits on his bedroom, and think of owning a company, earning profit. That person, his own desire of employing the 4 factors of production to go into business, run a business, and earn a profit. That man, Adam Smith called that the invisible hand. It is your own personal interest, your personal desire that will drive you to start up a company and make sure that it succeeds. It is these people, these entrepreneurs, individual entrepreneurs, who the ability to do this will create wealth in the country, employ people. As the people are employed, they pay taxes, and as they spend the money in the national income stream, that will create wealth. Because we shall tax them, they will build houses, they will earn income, and these go back to the national income. It's not the government. There's nothing. After independence, shortly after independence, Kwame Nkrumah experimented the state-owned enterprises. Today, none of them still exist. None of them. When Rollins passed into the political scene in 1981, from 82 to 83, he started selling all the state enterprises. The last one of them was the Commander Sugar Factory. And before our dear former President Mahama went out of office, he treated the Commander Sugar Factory as a political football, such a massive economic resource. He sank $35 million in Commander Sugar Factory without preparing for the sugar cane, for the raw materials. And then when he was questioned, he said that, he knows economics, unless he did economics to A level. Now, look at Commander Sugar Factory. Look at it. And I'm wondering, where were the economic advisors that were sounding Mahama? Who were they? The NDC economic advisors, who were they? They never read about the problems of Ghana's import subsistence industry. They never read about that. And Nkrumah set up industries, the import subsistence industries, all the problems we have in the country. None of them exist now today. You are sold all of them because it doesn't work. We are beyond government model of economics running business in the country. We are beyond that. So when President Mahama sank $35 million into Commander Sugar Factory, who were those advisors? Who were advising President Mahama? Who were advising him? 6 months after sinking the amount of money, that we closed the factory because no raw materials. The equipment were rusting and everything was rusting. Massive economic resource, like a factory, was treated as a political football. He rushed to go and open it to score political points, to get some vote from the central region. He still lost massively. He lost almost 1 million. He lost. He didn't have anybody. And after today, we cannot even know what to do with it because it is not economically viable for we to run that company. When we are having this from other sugar, we are importing sugar from other countries. You see, the time has come for us to know that. It is not everything that we import to Ghana that we can produce in Ghana. It is not possible. It is not economically sensible and viable that because we are import-dependent economy, everything that we import, we must run it in Ghana. It is not. It doesn't make economic sense. We must look at the facts on the ground. When the sugar factory, we should not even go into that at all. The research on it tells us that we shall run at a loss, given the competition from outside. It's not possible for us to do that. But you're not even getting people to come and even buy, investors to come and buy it. It's not viable. Who are advising him? This way, a person, a leader who cannot even run one factory for even 1 year, is telling him that he will generate, he will make the country run 24 hours. From where? From which economic textbook?
You think?
From which economic theory?
You think that is just a propaganda to invoke?
It is a big deception. And I'll tell you, since 1982, one of the most audacious statements emanating from any political leader I've ever come across in Ghana is what President Mahama is saying. 24-hour economy. One of the most audacious statements is it is as deception as it is false. It is bogus. It has no economic basis. Where the Ghanaian economic professors, where are they? The Ghanaian economic professors in Legon, where are they? You can pardon former president. He's a historian, we know that. The media man. Economics is not his area. So we can pardon him for that. But it's not possible. How could we turn an $18 billion economy? So a development, massive, look at the post-harvest losses. Every year, post-harvest losses in about $2 billion. A country that we as a country, we have not been succeeding to modernizing the agri sector. We have not succeeded in doing that. We have not succeeded to do that. Why do you keep on going to IMF? Since independence, we've been there for 18 times. We have not been able to even win ourselves from IMF. And so when you come and tell me that I'll give you 24-hour economy, it is a joke. What kind of economy is this? It's a big deception. A big deception.
Okay.
They don't know what they're talking about.
I think, unfortunately, we have 10 minutes to go.
Yes.
Mr. Pong,
Yes.
I said, now you do, you know, the equity,
You couldn't even run one factory. One factory for 1 year.
yes, sir.
We're telling Ghanaians to turn the economy.
Pacha, when our line is he?
Yeah, doctor, can I come in?
Oh, Krobia, Sagabum Pacha, hold on. I think that in your Krobia, it's on catch a ye. What called here? Hello, Krobia, are you there?
Hello, doc. Is it me
Yes.
or Krobia?
Yeah, it's you, Krobia. I
Joe,
wanted
Joe,
to
it's
know.
not Krobia.
Oh, Joe, I thought it's Krobia. Joe.
Yeah.
Before, I think you were held on for quite some time because of your this thing. So yeah, your life on there. I'm sure you wanted to say a lot until you had to give your child attention. If you're back, let's go. If there's something else you want to add to where you started off.
Yeah, I'm not totally free, but I would want to spend a minute or two to.
Okay, yeah, go on.
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate, and it's so. How do I call it?
Yes,
so
you have
unfortunate.
to. Is it because you are the only one on the phone, Zegabo? The rest are on on the system. So if it happened like that, you'd have to listen from the back. As usual, I'm sure Joe, who wants you to come to NDC, must have said something that has tickled him to contribute.
Yeah, doctor.
Yes,
At first,
he's listening. Well, Joe,
at
go
first
on.
they said 24-hour economy. Even chop bars are operating 24-hour economy. So it is not something new. This is not a policy. Now all of a sudden it's a joke. It can never happen. You are going to IMF. You see, they are desperate. The 24-hour economy in their bedrooms with their wives and kids, it is shaking them. It is like the devil, like the witch. When there is the Holy Ghost on the witch,
right?
The witch begins to shake. They are shaking because that is the ground break. Look, is the Gabo better than the Trade Union Congress in Ghana? Is the MPP better than all these professors and doctors who are saying that the 24-hour economy?
Felix, if you want to listen to this at the other side and then maybe talk here, otherwise I would have to pardon or beg Joe to hold on so you can make your contribution, because when you're going to say Joe cannot hear you, Joe speaks, you wouldn't be able to hear. So, all right, Joe, just let's listen to Felix 1 or 2 minutes because he's not spoken at all as we started.
Okay,
please.
okay. I'll give you the time.
Well, Felix, so you're live on air. Yeah, go on. No, you're live on air, Felix. Okay. Maybe I had to call you at the direct line as well because your line is not coming in. Let me call you direct, and then I see what Felix has to say, because I'm sure Segabo has tickled the NDC guys.
He's tickled everybody.
Segabo has tickled everybody with the 24-hour economy.
No.
Oh, sorry. I was calling Felix, and I end up calling Segabo. Segabo, somehow I kind of said people don't agree with you, so they coming up to say that. That is what listening at the background. Right. Hope he picks. Right. Oh no. I think it's. Yeah, Joe, please hold on. I'm sure he also want to answer Segabo just like you want to. So, some more. Answer would break for the last time. No, Segabo said so far this government is doing fantastic until Felix tried calling back same time, but it didn't work.
The father of audacious deception.
Oh dear. Oh, Raymond is also he's made Raymond also join the show because the man, what he's saying. Okay, Raymond, until we get Felix going. I'm sure Joe. Okay, so Joe end then. Let Joe end so that Felix Raymond will come in. Yeah, Joe, so go on, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. So like I was saying, at first they said, 24-hour economy. This is nothing new. Chop bars are even operating. Then they said, if you operate 24-hour economy, people will take away our wives and our girlfriends. Then now they are saying it is not possible. You are begging with the IMF, and so you cannot operate. All these people, are they better than the Trade Union Congress of Ghana? All these people, are they better than the doctors and the professors we have in Ghana who are saying that the 24-hour economy is going to be the groundbreaking point of our economic how do you call it? Economic sustainability. Everybody, every good loving Ghanaian, and in fact every sensible person who has every reason to think about how Ghana's economy is and how it has run in the last 30-40 years is saying that this is what the country needs. Because, doctor, today as we talk, if you apply for a passport, even on a premium basis, it will take you 3 months to get a passport. Dear. Okay, it will take you 3 months. And even that 3 months, Guru boys have to come in. And so if we are bringing a 24-hour economy, so that within 2 days, within a day, your passport is printed out for you. People are saying, because we go to, what has IMF got to do with bringing a policy that we can work 8 hours in the morning, 8 hours in the afternoon, 8 hours in the evening? What has IMF got to do with that? You see, like I was saying, these are like witches, so witches that the Holy Ghost is now kind of trying to heal them. They cannot stand at one point. They shake. And that is what is happening to the MPP. You are in power. An opposition has come out with a policy. We know that what is bedeviling our country now is lack of employment, lack of jobs. And so I am going to bring a policy that is going to kind of bring about more employment, more jobs for the people. You are in power 8 years. You've not brought about anything apart from talking about toilet and bathroom, and that's all that you are talking about. And when people are bringing policy, you are here talking about Adam Smith and Gordon Gordonsbeck and Abraham Lincoln and all that. What has Abraham Lincoln got to do with 24-hour economy? And Adam Smith got to do with? We are not kids. We are not kids for people to think that the economics they learned at JSS in 1862 is better than what we are talking about now. Look, John Mahama has brought a policy. And for politics, yes, and in as much as in every situation, we can agree and disagree. That is the beauty of everything that we do. But the point is that it is up to you, the government in power, to bring something that all of us, as reasonable as we are, we can put those two things on the table and kind of verify which one is viable, which one is good, which one is not good. You've not brought about anything except to go and tell Makola people that you build toilet, 18-seater toilet,
I think now
is this what we are talking about?
Concentrating on the Kaya to give them a profession or something like that.
Kaya, look, doctor, let me tell you something. If you are a reasonable person, with all due respect, trained and have education and gone to school.
No, I don't think I'm going to have that.
I'm not saying anything bad. We go to school to learn. In as much as we
right. So you suggesting generally,
sense,
right? You're suggesting generally. You're talking generally.
Yeah, I'm talking in general terms. Okay. In as much as we say we have home sense, and then you go to school to learn some other form of common sense.
Okay.
We are saying that people are migrating from the north to the south. And we need to find a way to stop that kind of thing, where people come from the north and all that kind of thing. And you think the best way to solve that problem is to build a hostel for them? Are you not rather motivating them to come more?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, and this is the person who's going to solve our problems. No wonder they say the 24-hour economy is no good. Because they have nothing.
We build where they are instead of them coming here?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. There is, and that is what Mr. Kitty was saying. This is a man who is using Ghana's money, traveling to go and see the Pope because his boss went to Israel, and so he is also going to see the Pope. You think we are all like Chemaun to me? He thinks we are all like Abronya.
Wrap it up, please. Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is that, and like every other person, every other reasonable person is suggesting on this platform, is that look. We have given the mandate of leadership to this useless government. In fact, useless, unapologetic, useless government. This insensitive, this government that is so insensitive, that is so uncaring. A government that doesn't think.
The government doesn't care about the Ghanaians.
Yeah. So we are saying that if not for anything, Mahama had 4 years. Doctor, I would want to challenge Segabo that compare Mahama's 4 years. Mahama had only 4 years. It's not even up to 4 years, but let us take it to be 4 years.
Okay.
Look at the infrastructural development that Mahama has brought. There is a saying, I always say that, doctor, there is wisdom in these proverbs that our grandfathers and grandmothers gave us. There is wisdom in there. If not for anything, they wouldn't have left us with those proverbs and all that. There is wisdom in it. That's why they give them to us. You see, Patrick Crosby obey frown to my then anything.
Okay.
John Mahama has promised 24-hour economy. So what we do is that we measure what he is saying now in the future, which will happen in the future, to what he has done in the past. Compare it to Akufo-Addo, what he is doing now and what they are promising. I know they are Akufo promised toilet. They are also building toilets. So these are their hallmarks. These are their projects. Mahama, UGMC alone, their own stronghold, KJTia, the biggest market in West Africa. Our airport now. Now, Mahama built something, they go and put paint on it, and they say it is their project, and they are celebrating. They saw 67 of Mahama's projects when they were caught, and they said, go and remove it from your tracker. Now the tracker is gone.
So it's 10 o'clock, Joe. If you want
No, ask them. After they were found to have stolen 67 projects from NDC, where is the tracker now? Because now if you go and look for the tracker, it is only toilet. Even people's personal toilet is in that tracker. What a useless government.
Thank you,
What
Joe.
a useless government. But doctor, one last thing before I go.
Yeah,
one last thing. At least some people are beginning to see and to sense the reason in what we are saying. About 2 days ago, I've seen a video. Unlike Segabo, the man is in US. He says he's lived in US for over 40 years.
Wow.
He says he drove Kofo around and all that. He was emphatic. The man boldly said that not only is Akufo-Addo destroying Ghana, he is even destroying the NPP government, the NPP party.
Oh,
he has destroyed the party. This man is an NPP man who has lived in the US for over 45 years. He says whenever Kofo came to US, he was driving him around. He unlike Segabo, who are so bound by party lines and so driven by party ideas and all that.
It's a diehard fan of the NPP.
It's a diehard fan, but he is saying the truth. He says that not only has Akufo-Addo destroyed Ghana, but he has destroyed the party. And
okay,
so for Segabo and his people,
here. Let me get
for Segabo and his people. For me, I feel that not only is Akufo-Addo destroying the party, but he's destroying everybody, including Segabo, because your integrity is at stake. If you have integrity and you follow this party, thank you very much.
Anyway, so Segabo, that's the Joe Stella insisting he come to NDC. Raymond, good evening. But before I go, Raymond, let me read this from Duke. He said, they don't understand the meaning of review. How can they understand the 24-hour economy? Mama had a firm track record. Yeah, good evening, Chair. Raymond, you're live on there, please.
Look by Mingan, Odupon, I hope you keep you a big man.
Point is fine.
Yeah, sometimes, I mean, when Gabo comes on, I mean, with you would assume that this man is pretty much enlightened, so you would expect him to be very, what's the right English word to use? Sometimes I struggle with the English language, but, to be very, realistic in what he presents. But he comes and then talks about things that it's very, 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 very unfounded. And, the statistics that he brings, he can't support it. So I keep wondering, and you see, the likes of them, they have some amount of influence. So what we're all begging is, look, we need opposition, we need NPP, we need NDC, but what like they have in America, 2-party states, but they push each other. So when you're not doing well, the next party will come. That's what we're praying for, because we don't even have the basics, doctor. Right. The basics. Right. I mean, when I went to Ghana 21, we never had any water shortage from part of Osu down to Kpong because of this tertiary dissemination plants. There was regular flow of water, and you never know that it's seawater. These people came, they said it's too much. They've abrogated the contract. Now there's no water. It comes 2 days, and it's all filthy.
If you look at the corners of our country, and then you think generally they rather make things worse. So what
because you from security, from rule of law, they touch everything they've messed up. And this education that they're making so much fuss about. Look at the food. Somebody was telling me somewhere in the north, they didn't have food, so they had to break and come home. And these are students who are learning for the next. We call it GSC or whatever. But now there's SHS or the final exams. They're preparing for it, and there's no the toilet that they're making so much noise about. The school has no lavatory, so they have to cross the road and go to other places for that. I mean, what sort of system is this? When you have your as at now, wherever you ask any NPP person is SHS, and even that is flawed. So what is there to praise them about? So when he comes, you expect him to talk something, like, oh, this is somebody who is pretty much, so that we forge ahead as a nation. No, it's not got to a time where we have to do party politics. We have to salvage the country. We have to hold the country together. Because I always say this: the way we're going, I pray it never happens, but if someone gets up, just like in Burkina Faso, other places, and takes the gun, the person will be very popular. That's what we have to fight against.
Now, let me ask you this. According to Duke Lakai, he say Mama is the only option, and then he solved doing so. I know he started off from maybe when people were making a lot of noise about the fact that Dumso, and then we seem to see the same thing until recently. I'm not even sure, since we don't live in Ghana, if there's still the Dakar there, or maybe things have changed. Do you think Mama is the only option, or we can try somebody else?
No. You look at the people currently vying for that position. Who has got better track records than Mahama? Tell me, because it's about 6 months away. Who, if you look at that cheddar is I mean, the list of those people, I don't want to talk about that. Indum messed himself up. If from time remember, if he has stood his grounds and be non-biased, he would have probably gotten somewhere, because all his businesses flourished under NDC. But he was one of the top, even not only in West Africa, but you could count him as one of the I'm not talking about it because he's always been a wealthy man, but his industrial imagination. He was big and he was spreading. He even had companies outside Ghana and all that. And all this was very, very hyper during NDC's time. What you see now, look at him now. I saw him the other time. I said, Mr. Actually, you are fresh past this man. You see him? So this guy is messed everybody. He doesn't want opposition. What sort of person are you that you would use 9 million to get the bank in order? You collect them with over 25 million. Who does that?
Oh yeah.
How do you cook the golden hen and expect to lay golden eggs?
And so from the nutshell, you're telling me, Mama, just like Duke is saying, Mama is anyway. I think it's obvious because we look at when was this man Dufo and then Spielgabra and all that, pulled their heads and thought about coming in as the option from the NDC. Mama is somebody we realized that he's been the president of the country. He's had some, ministerial positions and all that. So anyway, so that's that. Unless you have something else to add to it, Raymond, please.
Yeah, no, I'm saying at the moment, yes, maybe Spielgabra and people, if they had, the internal politics, we are not here for that. So maybe if they had done their homework well, maybe yes. But as we're talking about currently, if you look at the scale, look at the people who are vying for that position. Let's not talk about this. Even he himself came and said it's a joke. It's a joke. Bawumiah, he said it's a joke. So this is such a person, we don't even have to consider him at all. I'm even surprised. In any country, he will never even stand for election.
I've got Felix on the line. So wrap up from me, Raymond, please.
Yeah, so please, let's be nationalistic. Let's try and get rid of this government. We're not talking about NPP. We're talking about this five Achim controlling them. Let's get rid of them, recalibrate the system, and then start over again.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good evening, Felix. You're live on air, please.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you live and clear.
All right. Okay. Good evening to all. To Mr. for a long time not here. So just a few things I want to pick up on. It doesn't matter whether you are a rich or a poor country. You can ask your nation or your nationals or your citizenry to do 8-hour shifts, 40 hours a week, like we've been doing since we became independent. or you can also ask them to do a 24-hour shift. It's up to you. It has nothing to do with your levels of development. You know, you can decide as a country that's where you want to go. Yes, there will be issues about how you're going to fund the extra hours of labor. But what do we borrow money for in Ghana anyway? Because we are borrowing huge sums of money. What are we doing with it? It's very difficult to show. And if you find yourself in a situation where you borrow to the hilt, where you now international financial institutions, banks, and credit agencies don't want to lend you money anymore, the only way that you can pay your way out of your debt situation is by going to work. It's no different from an individual who picks up a lot of credit card debts and other forms of credit, and you are not in a position to be offered any more credit, i.e. your credit card company says that they can't increase the limit of borrowing for you anymore. The banks also tells you the same thing. You're only left with one choice, and that choice is to be, you're only left with two choices. The two choices are, one, to declare yourself bankrupt, or you go back and do some more work to earn some more and pay your way out of the situation. In the case of a country, it's very difficult to declare yourself completely bankrupt, because it's not that easy to do that because of the consequences you may face, or the consequences that you certainly will face into the future. So we don't have a choice as a country called Ghana as we speak, because the government that has been in power for nearly 7.5 years has borrowed too much. We are no longer in a position to borrow anymore. That's why we've been kicked out of the international financial markets. It's as simple as that. We only have one choice, which is go and work. And there's nothing wrong making our airports work 24 hours. There's nothing wrong making our seaports work 24 hours. There's nothing wrong making all of our borders work 24 hours, so that Ghanaians or individuals who do business in Ghana can bring in anything they want to bring into the country at any point in time, so far as is legally allowed, and then send their exports out of the country at any point in time. In fact, it gives you an opportunity to advertise and market your country. Because if your neighbors are not doing a 24 hours, they are not providing 24-hour service at any of your ports, it's a way that you can market your country to other businesses and business interests beyond the sub-region and even globally. Because you can tell them that at any point in time they want to ship things in and out of Ghana, they are allowed to do so.
Exactly.
Compared to other countries where they may not be doing a 24-hour service. Even our public services, the civil, same thing. It will fasten processes that will make the government and the process of running Ghana move on quicker than what we are doing now. Because even with the so-called 8-hour shifts, most people don't start work at 8 or 9 and finish at 4 or 5. Most of them that know, they go in late and then they leave earlier. And there's always this excuse about a funeral, an outdooring, or whatever. It's raining, something like that. People can come to it. So most people don't even do the 40-hour shifts as we know it. Now, secondly, he says that Sir Gabo says something to the effect that why should anybody trust somebody who, wasted $35 million into a sugar factory? Well, I'll prefer somebody who tried restarting a factory that years back had not worked well after Nkrumah was overthrown, by reinvesting money into it and trying to start it up. It's nothing strange. Even in the private sector, they do that all the time. You start a business, doesn't work well, you may have a go at it again. Maybe you have a go at it 3 times or 4 times. In our part of the world, people don't spend time to read about the history of businesses. Today, one of the most successful businesses in the world is Apple. At some point in time, Apple on the verge of bankruptcy. It was Bill Gates and Microsoft who actually lent them money because they were in such poor situation, they could not get money from their creditors, international creditors. So they had to rely on Bill Gates to give them money. Today, where is Apple now? So it's not all the time that you start a business and one at a go, that business will do well. But having that, I'll prefer somebody who's trying to invest money into a business with the hope that this business will be and cut down on our imports. Because whether we like it or not, Ghanaians are addicted to sugar.
Right.
Yes, the health consequences that comes with the consumption of sugar, Ghanaians are addicted to it. And since they are addicted to it, we have to provide them with sugar some way or the other. At the moment, we are importing millions of dollars worth of sugar into our country. So why not produce it ourselves? We may not be able to produce enough to feed the needs and meet the needs of Ghanaians.
That's right.
But at least if you can cut down on the cost of imports with regards to sugar, it will go a long way to salvage the useless Ghanaian city as it is now. Now, compare that to somebody who decided to invest millions of dollars into a pit hole in the central business district of Accra, trying to build, well, is it a cathedral or whatever he thought he was going to build. I don't think God ever asked any human being on earth to build a cathedral.
Well,
that says that God has asked a human being to build a cathedral.
Right.
As a cathedral ever mentioned anywhere in the good book.
Okay, so he's not saying that.
Man himself up there says that we should see him through our hearts, through our bodies, because he resides. He resides in us. We don't need to go and spend all of that money in a pit hole.
I think it's an expression of gratitude to God. He said it's an expression. Is that an expression of gratitude to God?
He says something to the effect that it's not everything that we can produce cheap. Yeah, that's correct. But you see, the things that we import into Ghana that we think are cheap, those send to us. You don't start a business and all of a sudden start producing things at a cheaper cost compared to other competitors globally. Yes, you may take the raw materials, which will go a long way, cheap power, which will go a long way, which is the reason why Akosombo was built, because it's the cheapest form of generating power, and hence Nkrumah's industrialization policy, which was going to use Akosombo energy for Akosombo for the production of our industries. But of course, you can also have cheap labor, which is what the Chinese have done over the last 30 to 40 years. They've used their cheap labor to cut down the cost of production and attract global businesses into their country and making themselves effectively the manufacturing site of the entire world. But you see, another way of cutting costs or producing cheap things cheap is benefiting from economies of scale. Now, that doesn't happen overnight. That happens after many years of mastering your techniques and your trade as a producer. And you can't get that and not starting a business at all. You start your transmission today and expect that you'll be able to cut down costs compared to somebody who's been in the trade for the last 15 years. Because the more you produce, the better you get to know the techniques, how to minimize, cost. You are never going to benefit from economies of scale. It's as simple as, so most imports that people claim are cheap and so on and so forth, the people we are importing from, they have also done this over many years. That's how they benefited from economies of scale, and hence their ability to produce this at a cheaper cost. And the only way you can also try and meet them halfway or even compete with them toe to toe in terms of cost is by you also starting from somewhere. So that is something that he is, I believe, is something, I don't know what he lectures in, but he should know this.
Thing economics.
Economics doesn't come overnight. You have to work at it, and it takes benefit from. You see, is it Apostle Joseph or what's the name? I believe he makes automobile of some sort.
Yeah.
Am I correct?
You are very right.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're very right. Yeah. He will not be in a position to compare his production costs per unit cheaper than that of BMW or Mercedes-Benz.
No.
Because he's been in this sort of business for many years. They have logistics systems where that are well established are in place. They have a way to minimize costs and keep an eye on costs. So it will take before Apostle Kojosafo will be able to match these companies when it comes to producing things at a cheaper unit cost and benefiting from economies of scale. He may be able to get compared to BMW or Mercedes-Benz. He may be able to get raw materials cheaper because of where it's located. but it's unlikely to be able to compete with them when it comes to the economies of scale and so on and so forth, when it comes to the production of automobile. And these things come with time. You have to keep going at it for a lot of time. If we say everything is, people are going to, the world will produce something cheaper than. So if you probably won't produce anything at all, including even the water we drink. Because it's cheaper for him to get maybe water from France or from some other parts of the world, rather than water produced by Ghana Water and Sewage Corporation, or whatever the name is now. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much. Adutwum, you want to wrap it up? Let's go. Thank you very much. Have a good night. Yeah. I think it's given us a lengthy one. Our time is almost up. So I think we would have to look at our grounds of voting, if it's for an experienced or somebody we could tell can help us have the change we need.
Well, I mean, Joe said a lot, and Felix has come to run up
everything,
you know.
Anyway,
but I think Sir Gabo needs to get out of the classroom mentality and come into
finding out people's background with the subject at stake.
Yes, and come a bit into the real world, you know, because he seemed to be dwelling too much on Adam Smith, you know, privatization.
No, I think Sir Gabo is convinced that anybody who switched his or her fate to the NPP will not regret it. I think that's all he's trying to tell us. Anyway,
but you know, I mean, 7.5 years of NPP, what results have we got?
They've been inclined in the economic movement in Ghana.
You know,
I'm sorry, IT.
We all adore Dr. Bawumiah about his economic excellence, but what is the management of it? So it's all theory. There are, you know, we have the men. Yes, we have PhDs and so on, but what are they producing? That's the issue.
Anyway, I think we'll land here, and then thank you very much for all of those who contributed, those who are watching on the internet, the messages. We do appreciate everything. So those I couldn't read your message, bear with us. Hopefully next week, Sunday, will come your way with another edition of the Newsfile UK. You have a good night.